This week, you're going to be reading a story called Amphibian Alert, and it goes along with our weekly question, which is, why is it important to learn about amphibians? Frogs, toads, salamanders, and newts are amphibians. The word amphibian means double life because these animals live part of their lives in water and part of their lives on land. An amphibian starts life in the water and then lives on land as an adult. Amphibians lay their eggs in the water. These eggs do not have a hard shell. They are more like jelly. Young amphibians that hatch from the eggs look very different from adult amphibians. The young breathe with gills. They have tails that help them swim. As young amphibians grow, their bodies change. They grow legs, lungs develop, and their gills disappear. These changes allow amphibians to live on land and breathe air with their lungs. The skin of amphibians is not protected by hair, feathers, or scales like other animals. Their skin is permeable, which means they can absorb air and water through their skin. Amphibians are found on all the continents except Antarctica. They are ancient animals that some scientists believe may have been around for 360 million years. However, their lives are being seriously threatened in today's world. Scientists know of approximately 6,000 different kinds of amphibians, but this number could change quickly. Scientists say that more than 120 amphibian species have already disappeared from the world. These kinds of amphibians are extinct, meaning that all members of the species have died. Many different things are threatening the lives of amphibians, including habitat loss, pollution, introduced species, and a parasitic fungus. Scientists say that 2,000 to 3,000 of the amphibian species in the world are now threatened with extinction. It is the biggest extinction crisis in today's world. One type of amphibian is the tree frog. Most amphibian species are frogs. This is a common tree frog. There's also a picture of a newt. It says most newts and salamanders are found in the cool forests of North America, Europe, and Northern Asia. Habitat loss and pollution. Amphibians often live in swamps and ponds, but many of these swamps and ponds are being filled in to make way for roads, houses, and malls. Amphibians also live in rainforests that are being cut down or destroyed by fire. The loss of these habitats often leaves the amphibians nowhere to live. Clean water is extremely important to amphibians. Adult amphibians need clean water to keep their skin moist. Adults lay their eggs in water, and young amphibians live completely in water. Some ponds and creeks are close to farms. Chemical fertilizers are used on farms to grow better crops. Pesticides are used to kill insects that destroy crops. However, when it rains, these chemicals are washed into nearby ponds and creeks that lead to swamps and rivers. Many frogs in these areas have been found with deformities, such as missing legs or extra legs. Deformed frogs like these have been found in 44 of the 50 United States. Some scientists believe that the chemical pollution in water is absorbed by the soft eggs of amphibians and by their permeable skin. The chemical pollution affects the eggs and growth of the young, causing these deformities. Introduced species and fungus. Since the 1930s, African clawed frogs have been shipped around the world by the thousands. These frogs are used in laboratory studies and for other purposes. Some exotic amphibians are shipped to other countries as pets or for food. Sometimes these amphibians escape or are released into their new habitat. In their new habitat, they can cause problems. The introduction of African clawed frogs into new areas has caused two major problems. African clawed frogs are more aggressive than many frogs, and they have been known to eat other frogs. But the bigger problem is that African clawed frogs carry a fungus called amphibian chytrid. This fungus does not hurt African clawed frogs, but it is deadly to many other kinds of amphibians. Scientists discovered this fungus about 10 years ago. In the wild, the fungus is unstoppable and untreatable. It can kill 80% of the amphibians in an area within months. Scientists suspect that dozens of frog species have gone extinct because of this fungus. Plans to help. Scientists and conservation groups from around the world are putting plans together to help save amphibians. Much of their work focuses on the amphibian chytrid fungus because the disease it causes is the most serious and immediate threat. Some scientists are researching how the disease spreads and why it kills only some individuals in one species, but kills all of another species. Other scientists are assessing the damage the disease has caused. The areas most affected so far include Central America, the Caribbean, Australia, and parts of Asia. However, scientists warn there is no continent or amphibian species that is safe. Conservation groups that include many zoos are taking in many of the threatened amphibian species to protect and preserve them. In the future, when the research scientists find ways to control the disease, the conservation groups will release these animals back into their natural habitats. What can we do? Like scientists, you can do research and learn as much as you can about the problems facing frogs and other amphibians. You can search the internet using search words such as threats to frogs and amphibians for more information. You can find maps and lists of the amphibian species in your area. Amphibians live all over North America and in every state of the United States. The Appalachian Range is home to many different species. Contact local nature preserves, zoos, or the Office of Environmental Matters in your state to learn about volunteer opportunities. You can also help by keeping local ponds and creeks clean. Although these small habitats may not seem as important as others, they are home to many creatures. We need to help preserve a future for them as well as for us.